Good afternoon and welcome to Morning Meets the Eye. I'm your host, Blind Prime, and for today we're going to be looking at Stewart Metalhead Finley. Yeah, from Indianapolis. Really cool. Got a metalhead. I think it's cool. I like this character a lot, and today we're going to really get into depth and we're going to talk about his pros, his cons, his positives, and his negatives. SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats with this guy, Metalhead. Ah, I like Metalhead. I think he's kind of cool. I love automatopoeias, and that's what this guy's all about. You don't get that very often. You got Warpath for GI for Transformers, and now you got Metalhead for GI Joe. The Onomatopoeia brothers, yeah. Onomatopoeias being things like bang, shazam, kaboom, things like that. Those are onomatopoeias. They are words that reference action. Uh, Pretty cool stuff. Look up onomatopoeias if you're interested. The best example of onomatopoeias is, of course, the original that original live action Batman show we all know and love, with Adam West in it. Oh man, I miss Adam West. Rest in peace, Adam West. You will never be forgotten. So, today is going to be talking about Metalhead, and if you wouldn't mind, please go below and hit that like button. It really, really helps for the algorithm to reach more individuals, and the more people I reach, the more chances I have of reaching another blind person. We're far and few between here on this website, but I know with you sighted people out there, we can work together and try and gather all the blind into my subscriptions, so that I can speak to all of them whenever I do these things. And with your help, we can do it. I know we can. It's going to be cool. Anyway, I hope all of you out there have been enjoying the past few videos. My favorite one I've done in the past few weeks was honestly the fire alarm video. I did have a lot of fun making that video and going on the hunt for the fire alarm. If y'all haven't seen that, that's one of those real life, how does a blind person do this kind of videos. So if you're interested in how a blind person finds and replaces their batteries, go check out that video, because that was one of those rare things where I was just kind of hanging out in my room about to do a video for Metalhead here, actually, and there's just this god-awful beeping. So I decided, instead of being one of those people that makes a YouTube video where there's a god-awful beeping of a fire alarm in the background that they're just ignoring and expecting you to ignore, which I don't think you should ignore, because I think that's highly rude, especially on the audio audio signals wise. It's just that beep is horrendous. So I decided I'm not going to be one of those people who makes a YouTube video and ignores the beeping of a fire alarm. Instead, I'll make a YouTube video finding the beeping from the fire alarm and showing you exactly how annoying that beeping is, because that beeping is terribly annoying. And I really do wish that there was a different noise, a noise that would allow for three-dimensional hearing to occur, so that you could have a better chance of finding your fire alarm if you do not have vision. So many things in this world would be better if an individual who designed it, who had vision, thought for a second, put on a blindfold, and went, how do I do this with blindfold on? And you know how many things would be solved if the engineers had just done that little bitty thing at the beginning? So much could be fixed if there was a requirement that engineers put on blindfolds for 20 minutes and play with the product. That would just be amazing. I would love it. And of course, there's some organizations out there that say they help the blind, who do not like it when individuals put on blindfolds to pretend that they're blind. They consider that offensive or something. And I go, screw that nonsense. That's a way to raise awareness for the blind. The only way that you can understand as a sighted person how the blind see things is by actually experiencing what the blind experience. And out of all of the disabilities, blindness is one of the easiest for individuals without blindness to experience, next to deafness. It's easy to cover your ears and plug them with something, and it's easy to cover your eyes and close your eyes and experience the world with those two disabilities. So individuals who try to stop stop that from happening, are really hindering the growth of a community. They're really hindering the ability for the sighted and the non-disabled out there to understand exactly what the disabled go through. And I'm going to move on. That was a diatribe, and I'm sorry. Can't help myself sometimes. I have these little hillocks I stand on. So let's get back into some happier things, some more positive things, some really cool things like this G.I. Joe character. This G.I. Joe character that I mentioned earlier is called Metalhead. His first name being Stanley and his last name being Finley. I think his first name was Stanley. I said his first name at the beginning of this video, and I'm not going back to look at it. So we're gonna talk about him today. Yeah, and if you wouldn't mind, subscribing to my channel if you haven't subscribed already. We experience a lot of fun things here at blind_prime, and of course, you always get to experience something from a blind person's perspective, and sometimes there's a cat. Isn't there a cat sometimes? Isn't there a cat sometimes? You're a sometimes cat, aren't you? Yeah, and sometimes you're a dog. All right. So Metalhead here came in a nice box. It was a decently sized box because he is not a I don't know what you would call him, because you I thought the ones that came with the bigger boxes, like with the alligator and with this anti-armor drone. I love this anti-armor drone. I thought that those were the deluxes, but he's a deluxe? I don't know. He's an advanced figure, that's for sure. He's not the one of the $24 ones. He's one of the $33 ones, like Transformers. He's Voyager class, if you will. You know what? I'm just going to call him that. All right. I don't know how GI Joe's referring to it, but he's basically Transformers Voyager class. So let's get into him. I brought out this anti-drone armor as an example because I did want to mention something about this character before we really get into the actual action figure, and that's he has this network in his head, and for individuals who don't know about this, he's directly connected to the Mars Cloud Network, so he can interact with Mars machinery like this anti-armor drone without touching it. So he can access it from his head and then utilize it and go bang, and it will fire. So I thought, hey, isn't that cool? We can bring out Scrap Iron's anti-armor drone, and it works with Metalhead in the story. So you can have a couple of these drones hanging around Metalhead if you bought a few more scrap metals, and they can be assisting Metalhead in all sorts of tasks. You don't need the stupid little device like the Nintendo Switch looking thing, the tablet that Scrap Iron got to control the anti-armor drone. Metalhead doesn't need that. He's gone wireless. So I thought that was a little cool thing, and I figured why not bring out the anti-armor drone, which is obviously a drone controlled by a little device, which means that without a doubt Metalhead can control it with his onomatopoeias, and I think that's cool. I have one of the rockets launching off, like he just said, swoosh, which I'm assuming swoosh is the word he uses for the big rockets because they make a big swoosh noise whenever they launch. He uses bang for his small ones. At least that's in my head how it goes. I'm going to slide some of my Transformers I have for tomorrow's video off to the side there. We can set the drone down. Okay, let's get into Metalhead's, and let's talk about his positives and his negatives. And oh boy, I have a negative to talk about with Metalhead. I will. I will. If you want a Metalhead, you know exactly what I'm about to talk about because I have ripped into them in the past in my channel. Yep. I am not a fan of what they did here. So we are going to bring that up first because why not? Why not talk about it first? So Metalhead, can you sit there and not be bothered? Okay, we gotta find your guns. I set them down so that we wouldn't have any problems finding them today. And of course, setting them down means that I lost them. Oh, here they are. Cool. Okay. So today we're going to talk about something with G.I. Joe Classified. And when it comes to Metalhead here, let me make sure. Yep. Okay, so Metalhead comes with these two cool guns. I mean, I have to say, they are kind of neat. There's this one little submachine gun thing that feels like something we got with some Vipers, but it's got a different nose on it. Like it's actually kind of a laser rifle, it feels like, more than an actual rifle. So it's a little laser submachine gun because of that rounded end. It shoots lasers, pew, pew, pew. They're kind of neat. And then we have this gun here. This gun is more on the assault rifles side. It's got a little blast effect compatibility going on the end there. Got a nice little assault rifle. Feels similar to, actually, it reminds me a lot of the assault rifle from the Halo games, like the first assault rifle. It's definitely different than that assault rifle, but the dimensions are similar in my opinion. Though I do like the ridges at the top they sculpted in. You know, the sculpt work for these rifles is top notch, and I am not dissing the sculpt work at all. So engineers out there and designers, um, yeah, good job making these weapons. The sculpt was excellent. Y'all designed it well, and I have to say, putting the engineering of the mold went very, very nicely for you. But nuts. I don't know. Where did I go? Nuts. Always knocking things over and dropping things here, Blind Prime. And I lost my train of thought as I lost the weapon. Here's the weapon. Okay, so what I dislike about this isn't what the engineers did. It's what the material analysis did. It's what the materialists did. Whoever runs the factory decided, hey, I know it's a good idea. Let's just take all of the rubber that we promised our Transformers fans, or at least they really just hope we use the rubber for our Transformers on the wheels. We're going to take all the rubbery stuff that we would use for the wheels of the Transformers cars and vehicles, things that obviously should be made out of rubber, but are not. And now we're going to take that rubber and we're going to apply it to all of the G.I. Joe classified guns, because guns should be made out of rubber, not wheels. Wheels should be made out of hard plastic, and guns should be made out of rubber, because that's what we do here at a place where chairs exist on the ceiling and ceiling fixtures exist on the floor. That's kind of what I feel like. It's just what is this place, Hasbro? What have you made these guns into? Look at it. It's the U-gun. Oh, it's the gun designed for shooting around corners. Oh, isn't it amazing? Freaking hate these rubber guns. I despise these rubber guns, Hasbro. I just hate them. I hate them so very much. It's just the amount of hate I have for rubber guns. Even this one, it's thicker so it doesn't bend as much, and I appreciate that, except that the darn ammo clip is made out of rubber. How in the world did you manage the ammo clip being made out of rubber? I mean, it fits in there, but it fits into a rubber gun. I'm wondering, what's the degradation on this? How long before this ammo clip just disappears from my life forever? What is this gun, Hasbro? This is not an accessory. This is this is a headache. That's what this is. Your designers are amazing. Yeah, everything went well, except that you dropped the ball. Hasbro, you dropped the ball at the factory. You didn't explain to them exactly what you wanted, or you didn't force them to do what you wanted. You dropped the ball. Or, I don't know, somebody said that these rubber weapons are because you're a 4+ only product. You're making the G.I. Joe classified figures for individuals who remember the old show. Therefore, those individuals are not between the ages of 4 and 10. Okay? Make the G.I. Joe classified figures like a 6+ at least. Come on. If it's gotta stop with the rubber. Stop with the rubber, and no 4, 5, 6-year-old needs to be handling G.I. Joe classified figures. They are not made for 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, or 6-year-olds. Make it a 7+ object. Make it an 8+ object. Make it something other than a 4+ freaking object, Hasbro, because it doesn't make any sense to me why you make these wonderful things that are obviously for adult collectors, and yet you still put a 4+ figure on that box. What the hell is wrong with you? Okay, sorry. I've been holding in the rant about the rubber weapons for a few weeks since I got Metalhead here. It feels good to get it out. It feels really good to get it out. Thank you for listening to my rant about these rubber freaking weapons. They're just disgusting. Disgusting, despicable pieces of... Why aren't these on my Transformers tires? I just rubbed the rubber on the Transformers tires. And, hey, this diatribe made me think of something. And anybody out there, I know we're about to get back into the figure. Just doing all sorts of things today. Look, I know the add-on kits for Transformers are out there all the time. If anybody out there can find add-on kits that produce rubber wheels for your Transformers, let me know in the comments below. I don't care about anything else. Anything else with the add-on kits, I don't want anything else. I just want rubber wheels. That is my want for my Transformers collection. They all need to be rubberized. So let's get into Metalhead now. We're done with the diatribes. That was the rubber weapons. Everything else about this guy is going to be golden. It's going to be peaceful, and it's going to be freaking awesome. Okay, we even got his extra head over there. So this is the gun I use for him, because this gun, I don't even remember who has this gun. This gun is similar to one of his guns, and I think it's a better gun. I like this gun a lot, and It works for him. It's not made of rubber. It's not a. It's a little bit of rubbery, but it's the right amount for a gun like this. Um, that also reminded me that this gun you can for this gun here that I found. Where did I put the blast effect? Here it is. So this gun's barrel sticks out just a smidge, right? It's the right size, surprisingly enough, to slip a Transformers blast effect onto. I don't know if anybody else caught that, but some of these guns' barrels are the right size to slip Transformers blast effects onto. I don't know if that was a design element or if that's just a happy coincidence, but I wanted to share that. Okay, let's slip the good gun over here, and those other guns are going to go into my box. Oh, nuts! I dropped something from him. It was, of course, one of his things on his shoulder. Okay, so let's dismantle this guy and let's talk about his stuff. Seeing as I just like broke a piece off. How do we put this back on? Let's see. There's that where it connects. Okay, so there's its connection point, and there's its little spot. So let's go ahead and put that little bitty connector back into that little hole. There we go. Connected. Nice. So easy a blind man can do it. All right, let's talk about his accessories. So, and for some reason this hose came out. Okay, so he's got some really cool accessories. He's got this backpack on, and we'll talk about these things, and then we'll get into himself and his extra hair and stuff. So his backpack here is really neat. It's got like heavy arms level. Gun heavy arms, not really gun cannon, kind of more on the realm of this with how these work. They fold over his shoulders, but their own little arms. And if this backpack doesn't twist, it doesn't twist. The backpack's actually really solid. I love this backpack. So these things are pretty tall. They stand above his head. Like if you bring them up to their full height, you can have them both above his head, and they will shoot. They're really neat. They have this blast effect plugged in with little rocket. We'll unplug the blast effect and rocket from each of them to get a better idea of this structure. Let's get this blast effect pulled out. These are really, really nice blast effects. So here we go. We've got his little, they're just these tubes, one tube and two tubes. Great sculpt work on these tubes. They feel excellent. They feel really fun. I really like them. I think they are nice. They have an end and they have two ends on them. So you can, I think, let me see. You can stick the rocket into the back end, but it doesn't want to stay when you stick it into the back end. So you have to stick his little rocket. Well, this one's the bigger medium-sized rocket. You got to stick it through the front tube. Okay, so we're gonna, oh, nuts. I removed this. Well, you know what? We're just gonna set him off over here to the side, and we're gonna talk about this. So let's see. Can we get you to load, please? Didn't I load you before? Or did I ever try to load you? I don't actually think I tried to put anything in this before. I'm a little surprised that the rocket here doesn't seem to want to fit inside of this little compartment. That is surprising me. I thought that this compartment was the right size for the rocket. Well, that's what I get for not testing this out before and just loving the blast effects so much. I put the rocket on the outside. That there's not a little door. You can't really open this thing up to slide that little rocket in, and I don't know who's really talked about that. These rockets the rocket doesn't want to fit. It doesn't want to fit at all. You can't even shove it in there. That's a bit on the sad side. And it's not as cool as the bazooka, because you could have put the rockets inside of the bazooka, but you can't put the little rocket inside of this guy. Oh, I'm a sad blind prime now. The rocket's really neat though, so let's take his forearm for measurements on this rocket. Here we go. There's your forearm. It's already out like that. Perfect. Boom. The rocket stretches, let's put it the other way, stretches from his elbow all the way out to his palm. Yep, just to where his fingers curl. That's a decent sized rocket. That is going to be, that's going to make somebody's day very, very unhappy. All right, and the blast effect that came with it, it's really neat. You just plug the blast effect into the rear, and the rocket actually fits on it a bit and squeezes down. And this is really nice, and I appreciate this, because with this guy here, this rocket, not so much. It doesn't really squeeze in so much. So it's not really the best. Now, let's see. We're gonna try something here. We got this rocket here the from the drone, and will it plug in? Nope. That is a different type of connector. That is a male connector, where these rockets, the smaller ones, use female connectors. So the male connector has to plug into the female connector on the blast effect for the bigger rockets. Sadly, that's the case. But can it fit inside of your little tube? Let's see. Can we fit inside the tube? Can we fit inside the tube? Just, just, just for goofiness reasons. I always like to see, if it's goofy, if it will work. Nope. The goofiness of that rocket fitting inside the tube at the end won't work. But wouldn't that have been fun? Wouldn't that have been fun? All right. Let's plug this back into its blast effect over here. And let's move on to more stuff. I disassemble this guy partly during the explanation for him. That's just going to be the case because he does kind of get everywhere. So it is best to just dismantle some parts so that we can best talk about it. So that's his rockets on his shoulders. And now let's come down here to his... we'll spin him around and talk about his backpack here. His backpack, which has the 2 points that I disconnected to make it easier to talk about the backpack. It's a bigger, wider backpack. Like, it goes back a bit further than normal. It's definitely it's on the wider end of his backpacks, a deeper end, I guess. It's got some really cool textures in here. Like, this thing is it's like some sort of belt texture there. And it's like, it feels like it may be a little belt fed things that help feed the missiles into the tubes or something like that. I don't know. This is just a weird backpack. Maybe he has more missiles in it and he has to open it up and get the missiles out. I don't really know. But it's pretty cool. He's got these 2 hoses down here, which always like to pop out. There you go. You can easily put them in. There's 3 tiny holes in the bottom of this thing. There's one in the center that you can plug the hose into lightly, but that one doesn't really matter. There's one on either side of that center hole, though. And then these hoses come down from his bag, and they've got some really great textures to them. All the hoses have had great textures in the G.I. Joe Classified line. And then you come down to his leg thing, and there's 2 ways to do this leg thing, okay? So it has one area where the tubes are slightly parted from each other, and then another side where the tubes are really close to one another. Now, the side where they're slightly parted from one another is the side you want to plug the hose into. The hose is going to go right between those 2 parts, and there is some sort of little hole in there or something. I'm not able to see it, but the hose sticks into it when you get it right. So that's how you plug these in. You just, where those 2 little points are just slightly apart from each other, like 15 degrees, these little things can come into the center and plug in. That's really neat. I like them. I think the hoses are cool. And I think that this backpack is really neat. But let's go ahead and pull that hose out from the back of that. Let's remove his backpack here with its 2 hoses hanging out from it. And there's the backpack. Now, we've got his back, which has got these points on it that help stabilize the backpack. He's got, this connector where it slides in to his back. And then these are 2 male pins that assist in the stabilization of that backpack because it's big and heavy. And I am really happy that they did that. Good job, engineers, thinking about things ahead of time and ensuring, their evenness. So let's coming down here to his legs. Let's lower that, raise that up. And now let's pull out these little blast effects for the legs. All right. Hey, come here. I don't want to pull out the missile. I just want the blast effect. Oh, shoot. Oh, no. Oh, there it is. There it is. Tiny little missiles. Tiny little missiles. I call them ant missiles because they're so small. Let's pull out this one. Come on. Get the blast effect out of the port. There it goes. Okay. So his legs down here are a different story when it comes to these missiles. They fit in. And they don't fit in. They fit in, but they don't lock in. You can set them in there, and the nose is going to be sticking out, but if you tilt it down, look at that. I thought it would just fall out, but apparently I'm wrong. Oh, if you give them a nice twist, there's a lip in there, so you can put them in one way, okay? And then you slide them in, okay? And then you give it like a quarter twist, and then there's some ledges in there that stop it from falling out. You can still pull it out with a little force, but gravity isn't going to take it out. Oh, never mind. If you shake it enough, it's going to find the way to get out, and it's going to get through those lips. But just for the fact of it sitting on your shelf, these things aren't just going to randomly fall out if you spin them right. And you got to test that. Spin it and find that rough section where it's a little difficult to pull out, but you can still pull it out. I advise not pulling it out when you feel that, because that means that you're going to damage the rubber in there, and eventually it's never going to stay. But it's a tiny little rocket. Where's your forearm for a measurement here? Here we go. We're going to stick the end of the rocket up against his elbow. And this one, the end of the rocket goes right to his wrist. Tiny little rockets. Tiny, tiny little rockets. Now we're going to come to the... now the blast effects of those rockets are decent, and the rockets themselves are pretty cool. They're very similar to the bigger ones. We got little fins on the back, and then some fins in the middle, and then a nose for the rocket. Not too much to go on there. Let's talk about these side pits though, and this is another negative on the figure. He's got these stupid connectors sticking out of his legs. I hate that he has these ball joint connectors sticking out the sides of his legs. I don't know why he does. I don't know why they didn't put the socket in the side of his leg that you could hide with something. Like you could have folded over a piece of armor or something and hid the socket in the side of his leg. Instead, he's got this thing sticking out of his leg like he's Ace Ventura, Pet Detective in the second movie, with the javelin sticking out of his knees, you know? It's kind of what I feel like with that. This thing, when it fits on, it hides that very well. It's just that you can't display this guy without his leg missiles. And unless, of course, you get creative and you cut this entire armor off that's wrapped around this leg, because this thing wrapped around the leg is what holds this joint together. So if you cut that off, you get no more joint there and you get a nice leg. But once you cut that off, it's gone forever. So be aware of that, collector. Be aware of that. Okay, that's almost all of his accessories. Let's talk about his hair. I know he had a lot of accessories. The hair I have on him right now is the one that has the Geordi LaForge visor going across his eyes. I like the Geordi LaForge visor hair, but we can't pull this hair off. Come on, get off. Get off hair. Oh my god. He is having a bad hair day. Okay, there it goes. Alright. Now, come over here to the other hair, because I discovered this hair works with the helmet. So now we've got him some swished back 90s hair, long hair, long hair. And you got this right here. I'm going to plug this helmet onto that area. Okay, so I think it's supposed to just plug in like that. It's a decent helmet. I think it's cool. There it goes. Squish it down. He has got a cool helmet. Now, this helmet really can't be used with the Geordi LaForge visor hair, because this visor... Nuts. Oh, cool. The missiles stayed on their tubes. Or stayed on their blast effects. I like the blast effect when it comes to these missiles. Those blast effects really work to keep those missiles together, and I approve. So the Geordi LaForge hair, the Geordi LaForge visor sticks out too much. I mean, it's just a pair of sunglasses, but they do stick out from the hair too much for the helmet to work. So the helmet has to be on his non-sunglass hair, which is okay, in my opinion. I like that. I do like this helmet. I think the helmet's neat. I love the little slashes of metal coming down from the top. Like it was just rent from something or exploded away from something. So that's pretty cool. Now let's get into the... take the helmet off. Actually, I would just leave it on for the rest of this. Okay, so now we want to talk about his face. So let's take that off. Let's take his hair off. And let's talk about this character as the character is. Oh, wait, did we forget something? Did we forget something? We forgot the knife. He's got a kniff. It's made of rubber. And I don't want to talk about it. It sits on his chest, and it's made of rubber, and it makes me sad. Okay, he also has this this man at arms style neck piece around his neck. From He-Man, Man at Arms always had that piece of metal sticking up that hid his neck, and this guy's got the same thing. It feels as though like this entire section of his body should fold down for some sort of transformation. Like, that's how I feel because I do so much Transformers. But let's talk about his head sculpt. Very nice head sculpt. I love the beard. I love the nice little beard he's got going on, or is that just a goatee? Feels like he's got a bit of a mustache too. That's nice. Yeah, he's got one of those I don't know what you would call it, but it's Dante from Clerks. It goes around his mouth and up and under like Tony Stark as well. So that's really nice. He's got some really bushy eyebrows really in there. Nice eyes, good eyes. Decent nose. I like the nose. I think he's smirking or he's smiling. I can't exactly tell. It's really hard to tell facial features sometimes, especially whenever a smirk and a smile can just be a little bit off. And his ears are pretty good too. Ears are actually excellent. I don't know why we didn't just get the sunglasses to put on those ears. It would have worked. Now they did a different thing with the head here again. They keep doing different things with the heads, and I don't like it. I think you just find a hair connector and stick with it. That way, we can have some fun as GI Joe collectors and actually mix and match the different hair pieces. Like, wouldn't it be cool to put Lady J's hair on this guy, little hat and everything? But we can't because you changed the connectors for the head again. Please stop. Just stop doing that. Make it standardized. You're dealing with military stuff. It's all standardized, Hasbro. Make it standardized. Okay, coming down here, we've got some really great pauldron action going on there. We got some t-shirt stuff happening here with the wrinkles. You can tell it's a t-shirt because it's got the wrinkles. And feels like a little rougher on the elbow. He's got an elbow pad, double jointed elbows for the win. He's got a really nice right arm hand that spins and doesn't go up and down. It goes up and down. It goes up and down. It does not go side to side. Now his other one goes side to side a little bit, and it doesn't go up and down, but it does go side to side a little bit. Both forearms are basically the same. Both of his biceps are basically the same. He's very symmetrical in that regard. Then again, if you're carrying this much heavy ordnance, you can't be asymmetrical. You're going to lean over too far. We already talked about this back. His front armor, really nicely done. I love all of these details of the little steel plates he's got everywhere in his ballistic armor. That way if something explodes near him, the chances of him getting caught in the explosion, are pretty high that he'd get caught in the explosion, so he needs armor to resist that. Center articulation, it seems like he has one joint that goes back and forth. Does he have that core ball joint that we see in G.I. Joe classified figures? No, he's just got a simple swivel for that, for his lower section. Actually, no, it seems like it may be a bit of a ball joint because he can wiggle back and forth slightly. All right, but that's that for his core articulation. Not as much core articulation as other figures have. Does he have butterfly? He's got backwards butterfly. He's got some backwards butterfly, but not frontwards butterflies. Okay, coming down here to his legs, and we've got more stuff going around his waist. He's got a decent belt on. It seems like it's really heavy duty. It also seems like it's attaching. It's part of the equipment that he has to hold these missiles on his legs, and his groin area has some ridges in it. It's obvious like that is extra armor on his groin, or that is just a visible zipper, whichever one. Spinning him around, let's take a look at his big old G.I. Joe classified butt. And he doesn't have a big old butt. He's got a nice one. It doesn't allow for movement backwards as well, which is still kind of a shame. But if you drop that hinge down, do you get any more backwards movement? Let's see. Hinge drop down. No, the butt's still too low. Like, that's a negative on these butts, is they're cut too low. So even though, the butt cheek goes down far enough, it's just that it should be just slightly up, because now to get his leg to go backwards, you got to kind of spin it off into a direction. That is a shame, and that's something that's kind of a negative with all the G.I. Joe classified butts that I've come across. They don't really allow for too much movement, at least on the rear movement for the butt. All right, so moving over here, we've got the little missile effect. We've got some really great armor coming down his legs. Some really amazing textures here, straps and everything to hold this missile tube onto his legs. There's got so many straps. He comes down here, he's got nice knee pads, and his boots are excellent. I love his boots. They're lace-ups all the way to mid-calf, and they spin right there. That calf spin, that is excellent because they have all the bunched up fabric from his pants where he's tucked his pants into his boots. And boot texture's excellent all the way. Feels like they put a little scuffs on the front of the boot. His boots have been through some action. Now, let's flip him upside down and let's see what the bottom of the boots look like. In the bottom of the boots, we have texture. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have texture. We've got some great sculpt work on the bottom of the boots. All right, and that is all I have to say about him, review-wise. I'm excited that his... now, he does have an enemy. and it's kind of an enemy. It's Gridiron because he was the mascot in the same school that Gridiron went to, and Gridiron and the boys made fun of him, and he ended up becoming an evildoer who sought destruction. And Gridiron ended up becoming a GI Joe, and it just goes to show you, be careful who you bully when you're in high school and college, because those people may become your greatest enemies later in life. So be nice to people, even people that annoy you. It's important to share goodwill amongst people, and you don't have the you don't lead a person down the path of joining Cobra and creating missile defense software just to show you how much better than you they are. At least that's what I get the impression of whenever it comes to Metalhead right now. So overall rating of this figure, I'm going to give him a grand total of an 8.5 out of 10. Actually, no, just an 8 out of 10, because those missile tubes on the sides of his legs hurt him. That ball joint thing hurts him on the sides, and the rubber weapons hurt him. So I'm going to take 2 points off for that stuff. But overall, this guy is excellent. I like everything about him. I think he's a lot of fun, and I can't wait to I'm really excited to add him to my collection and put him in amongst the other Joes and Cobra all fighting on my shelf. This is a wonderful figure, and if you're looking for him, go picking him up. And it's Metal Dash Head. Remember, the dash is important. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. Me and Cream have really appreciated you today, even though Cream hasn't come over here to say hello. Have you, Cream? No. No, you're just a sleepy guy. You're always a sleepy guy. Yes, you are. You spend 90% of your life sleeping. That's why you've got such a big Buddha belly. Why you've got such a big Buddha belly. Thank you all so much for watching, and tune into my channel, blind_prime, for more in-depth reviews from a blind person's perspective. Until next Prime, bye-bye for now.